Welcome back to 52 Weeks of Gaming. This week I decided to play a game that looked like a thriller and a horror game just by the title and the quick little trailer that I saw, and wasn't wrong but also wrong in the same time, and that is Observation, is the game that I went and played this week. Now, Observation is a game that is developed by No Code and published by Devolver Digital, and it advertises itself as an RPG narrative, mind-blowing simulator thriller science fiction game, all of which I think are true. I think RPG, there are some skills that you can go and include with it. Definitely is narrative, definitely is mind-blowing, and a simulator definitely has thriller aspects, and obviously is a science fiction. That is not to say that it is like bare bones and there's nothing unique about it, because I think Observation as a whole is really well done. You can go and play it on PlayStation, Xbox, Windows, pretty much every system that exists. But the idea is that you take control of this AI called Sam. I want to say it's like the system automatic, and maintenance sort of. You're on this spaceship, or this basically station, and you're kind of controlling everything, and suddenly an event happened, and you don't know why it happened, you don't know really what happened, but spoiler alert, you're outside of Saturn when before you were just supposed to be around Earth. And so it's about you as Sam helping out the one crewmate that at the beginning is alive. Not going to say whether or not others are alive or not, but the one that you come in contact with first, Dr. Emma Fisher, and it's all about basically figuring out why you are where you are and what to go and do. And that's pretty much what it is just an idea of figuring out how did you get into this situation, and the puzzle surrounding it of how to get out of said situation once you figure out how you got into said situation. Now, it is definitely a thriller in the idea of this being that, spoiler alert, is kind of like on Saturn, and the reason why you were kind of there, and all these different multiverses that take place in it, and this conversion point that's kind of happening. But I think the way that the game has you play as through an AI, instead of playing through Emma Fisher herself and kind of going through the station and figuring everything out, you're kind of in this backseat role of the AI, but also it's up to you to unlock areas and doors and solve problems and kind of do all these things while the human and humans that you do eventually come across, spoiler, that they can't go and have access to, and it's something in your routines that you go and have access to, and kind of just figure it out as time goes along. And it's definitely something that I never thought I would go and play, and I don't even know fully. Looking at it at the end, knowing how the game ends, it definitely makes me want to know what else happens because of the open-endedness of it. But it's kind of a puzzle game with the idea of how you have to solve some of these things to unlock doors. Sometimes they're completely locked and you have to find schematics to be able to go and use them, or sometimes to go and do a specific task. It's like, okay, match up these icons very quickly, you have a very limited number or amount of time, and just trying to go and get it all done. I think that it's definitely something that the game does a really good job of leaving you clueless, and you kind of figure out things slowly, bit by bit, ahead of time. But the way that it's done, and it's the one thing I like in shows as well, is when they craft it so well that you kind of might have an idea of what's going on, but you really don't have a for certain idea until probably a few minutes ahead of it, if that, where you're just like, okay, maybe this is happening, maybe this, and then it's like things start to fall into place, and then you're like, oh, that makes much more sense now. And it definitely keeps you on your toes as far as actions that need to happen, and overall the the things that you can go and find to kind of give you more background on all of the different people on this mission, like all of the different crew members and why they're there and their background and kind of what happened to them before this point. But it is a very interesting game to go and play. It's something that is really unique, and I gotta give it to No Code for coming up with it. And I think it's something that is really cool, but has its points of that could cause issues for people, such as the when you're Sam, you're kind of in your little sphere to go and fly around the station, as opposed to using the cameras. The controls are a bit wonky, but that's because you're in outer space, and I kind of gave it the space, no pun intended, for it to go and be a bit wonky because of trying to go and figure it out. But it does get a bit frustrating sometimes. Overall, though, anyone who enjoys thrillers, who enjoys science fiction sorts of games, who enjoys questioning everything that you think you know and then having it turned on its head instantly, those are the people that would go and enjoy this game. And that's who I think would want to go and play it, and I think they would enjoy it as much as I did.